Stugotz here, guys. Mother's Day is coming up pretty quick. Whether it's your mom, your wife, or your sister, all moms need to hear they are appreciated and know that they are loved. So, show how much you care to the lady who taught you everything you know about caring with a Hallmark card. From sweet to sentimental to laugh out loud funny, Hallmark has a card that'll help you put your love for mom into words and let her know how much she matters. It's your way of saying thank you for all the sleepless nights and selfless acts of love. Go out and find the perfect Hallmark Mother's Day card today. You can find them wherever Hallmark cards are sold. Stugotz here for Dell. There's nothing small about your business. It takes a lot of hard work, and it makes a huge difference. As a thank you, during Small Business Month, Dell is offering up to 40% off select PCs with 8th Gen Intel Core processors, plus get a free external hard drive with select PC purchases. Simple to get. Call 877-BUY-DELL to speak with a small business technology advisor today. That's 877-BUY-DELL. One more time. Check them out today. It's 877-BUY-DELL.
Some things to discuss locally here. Guillermo, the Marlins are making him crazy.
Playing well.
Stephen Ross, it's being reported, Boston Globe, playing well is overstated.
Relatively speaking, like, they're doing okay.
Yes. Yep. 7 of 10.
But why are we celebrating them being like, I understand, they have the same record that they had at this time last year, but like now they have pitching, but they don't have offense. Last year they had offense, but they didn't have pitching. I just don't understand why we're celebrating this as a great success. They're still 7 games under 500.
That's how it works with expectations. Lower them enough. They put them at the bottom possible place, right? So they get to 7 games below 500. They're beating the Reds. The godforsaken Reds. That's a AAA team.
That was such a sloppy game yesterday, by the way. Like, it seemed like everyone wanted to have an error at the end of it. Like, everyone wanted an error. It was a disaster. The rain, I'm sure, didn't help, but still.
So we've got that to talk about. We've got the Miami Herald report that Hassan Whiteside is available.
It's not just the Reds. I mean, they've won their last 4 series. They've beaten good teams. The Phillies are off to a good start. The Rockies are a good team. Like, the Marlins are playing pretty decent baseball here.
So they're good, Stugotz?
Well, I mean, listen, they're just 6 out in the NL East. I mean, really can't ask for more than that 30 games into the season.
And the secret's out because the Marlins lead the league in road attendance.
That's because everyone knows they're coming for a win.
They've been disappointed.
The tickets, I know they have. The last couple of series, they've been disappointed. Those Cincinnati fans that filled that place thinking they were going to get a win left home disappointed.
That's another thing, by the way, is that we don't actually have pitching. We have pitchers that have been hot. But like Caleb Smith, we got lucky with that one. And that was a trade that they made, and we got him from the Yankees, but that wasn't part of the Stanton deal. That was part of another deal. And Trevor Richards, who they're touting as doing great in the minor leagues, that's someone who was already in the system. So this whole, the process is working, these are pieces we had. Harlan Garcia we already had.
That sounds like a straw man to me. Who's saying the process is working?
I can name names, but I'm not going to. But there's a certain radio announcer named Glenn Geffner, who every time the Marlins do anything good, say respect the process.
The one trade that's panning out was luck. All the rest of them were his bad decisions.
Lewis Brinson is killing it right now. That guy's flirting with a demotion.
Jeter's point in all this is that last year's team wasn't that good. Even with all those guys, I can tear it down and I can put a similar product out there.
But I don't care about him saving money. I'd rather have the product from last year do what they were doing than the product from this year do this. Because this isn't going to last, by the way.
He got you Castro.
Are you joking?
I mean,
are you kidding me with that?
That's just wants names, Guillermo. What do you mean?
It cost us Stanton to get Castro.
Stanton hasn't been very good so far. The Marlins fleeced the Yankees in that deal. I mean, seriously, Yankees wish they had Castro back.
I'm not acknowledging you.
Phillies played well, man. Give him some credit.
Everyone freaking out about Judge and Stanton. They could have had Castro and Gregorius.
Castro's one home run.
I don't know where. I mean, Castro's the only guy on the team anyone can name.
He's got 16 RBIs.
And by the way, I saw this. What is Brian Anderson? Like, someone tweeted out rookie phenom. Like, that's a bit much. Rookie phenom Brian Anderson. He's in like 260. What are we doing?
I'm telling you, if you lower the expectations low enough, all of a sudden Caleb becomes Dr. K. Mike Hill is executive of the year. Mike Hill is executive of the year, 7 games below 500. Don Mattingly is going to get a promotion to his next job.
He's a doctor. They give him an honorary doctorate.
Definitely the NL manager of the year, though, right? I mean,
Who gave him a doctorate?
Some school in like his hometown gave him an honorary doctorate. Let me find out what it is. Because
for being 7 games under 500?
The degree is ridiculous. Let me find it. Hold on.
I'm pretty certain Castro across the board has better numbers than Giancarlo Stanton. I'm pretty certain of that.
That can't.
Well, it can't be across the board if home run is on the board.
Oh, he's got one. But I mean, Castro's got a 759 OPS. There's no way Stanton is that much higher than that, if he's higher at all.
I mean, Stanton and Judge have combined for, I think, only 15 home runs. You combine Castro and Gregorius, they got 11.
Yeah. 768 OPS on Stanton. How about that?
Honorary doctorate of humane letters from the University of Evansville.
What is a humane letter? No. Hi, it's your neighbor. Could you please turn down that music? It's a humane letter.
Sounds like a glorified pen pal.
It's because he's very humane, worrying about pitchers' arms. Doesn't want anyone to get hurt.
This Dave Roberts, don't get me started on him. Jesus. He's exactly the same as Don Mattingly. He loves taking people out of no-hitters. Did it again. He got a no-hitter. Did it again to a rookie. God. And the rookie was pissed.
When are you going to understand it's the new way of thinking? Like, everyone's going to be doing that.
Everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing it. It's not like he's outside the box and he's some sort of genius. He's just following a trend.
Yeah,
you
a trend of safety.
Now, don't do it.
A trend of safety. Of worrying about people's arms and not letting them
Ryan
throw
threw 250
innings.
pitches in a game and went on to pitch 15 more seasons and threw 5 no-hitters after that.
How's his arm doing today? It's really sore.
Still,
I'm with Chris.
I'm with Chris on this, too. I remember seeing Nolan Ryan dump his arm in like a bucket of rice, and I was like, what is he doing? No, I'm not even kidding. Go look it up. I mean, Nolan Ryan had all these farm remedies for his arm.
Rice? Did he get water in his arm? What was he putting it in rice for?
He would put his arm, I'm pretty sure, in a bucket of rice, not a bucket of ice. Look it up.
I'm on it.
Just Nolan Ryan.
I'd love to just get him on the show and just ask him that. How's the arm feeling?
Allison, see if you can get us Nolan Ryan just so we can ask him, how's the arm?
Hopefully he hasn't been paying attention for a week to our show.
I'd be happy being the show that talks to Nolan Ryan.
Compiler.
So what do you guys do with this Miami Herald report on Hassan?
I mean, I sit there and say, what could they possibly get back for Hassan Whiteside? I mean, they want to trade him. What are they going to get back for?
It's news that's gaining support, as in there's people in that front office that don't want that person gone. What?
He who shall not be named?
He who shall not be named has supporters in that front office?
Not really.
Ooh. Okay, because the report made it seem like, okay, it's gaining momentum, which means I just picture one person just staunchly saying, I don't think we can do this.
Well, just start here, okay? I don't think you need to have very many sources or talk to anybody. Just start here. Pat Riley, a man of substantive ego, was persuaded by others, bidders, pressure to give Hassan Whiteside a max contract. And because he had to settle on second option after second option, he's building around Hassan Whiteside and Dion Waiters.
Right.
Heat culture is building around Hassan Whiteside and Dion Waiters. And then what happens in the playoffs? Dion Waiters isn't available, and neither, in many ways, is Hassan Whiteside. I cannot imagine how galling that had to be to the top of the organization to have the only player they've ever had where they've given him max money and don't feel like they're getting max effort. Like Eddie Jones was a pariah around here because he got a bunch of money and he wasn't as good as people thought, but his effort was never questioned. How much he cared was never questioned. And so it's not a big leap, is it? Is it a big leap to say this guy they gave max money to who clearly isn't someone you build around? You make him a complimentary piece. You make him a fourth player. You clearly don't build around someone who, in your first round of the playoffs, your coach doesn't trust in any meaningful way to keep on the court.
Yeah, how could you build around that guy moving forward? You can't. You can't build around Hassan Whiteside. Not Hassan Whiteside is your best player. Can't do it.
I'm saying that you should have seen the momentum and the movement in the Heat front office toward trading Hassan Whiteside just by watching your television the last 5 games of the Heat season. Because you can't pay someone like that in that building the way they represent themselves, the culture they believe themselves to be about, and the guy you need to show up for his money. the most shows up the least.
And he's got a bad attitude on top of that.
Well, but just think about whether Spo and Hassan Whiteside would want that around.
Right.
I'm sorry, Spo and Riley would want that around.
But what could it's pretty obvious that Riley and Spo do not want him around, and the Heat don't want him around. Everyone talks about the culture and all that stuff. So when the Heat are telling you, hey, we don't want this guy, what are they possibly going to get back for Hassan Whiteside? Like, isn't it just better to keep him at this point?
You're saying it's pretty obvious, and that's just us applying what we've seen on television, but their public comments go totally against that.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know what you do with the public comments, because last time we heard from Hassan Whiteside, 5 days apart, 10 days apart, he's questioning the way he's used, and then 10 days later, he's saying publicly, I believe in all of Spo's decisions. I believe in him. Nothing Hassan says means anything. It's cartoon words.
You seem really broken up about this, man.
It does seem like you're holding back tears.
Yeah. You want a napkin?
What's going on?
Because of the way I'm speaking?
Yeah.
Drink something.
Yeah.
It sounds like I'm emotional about this.
That Barry Jackson report hit you hard, man.
There was another report, the Stephen Ross report in the Boston Globe. Did you guys see that?
No. What is this?
Cry too?
I'm trying to figure out.
Are you
okay, man?
Now I'm trying to do the effect of being broken up by reports. So the Globe is reporting that Stephen Ross is meddlesome.
Why is
okay, Dan?
Why is the Boston Globe reporting this?
Weird, yeah.
It's one reporter.
What was Cody doing?
Was it Volan? Because Volan used to cover the Dolphins.
I'm sorry to get so emotional about this.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Volan. Okay, that makes more sense.
He scooped Cody, huh?
They report that instead of Minka Fitzgerald, Stephen Ross wanted to trade down. Stephen Ross.
Fitzpatrick.
What did I say?
Fitzgerald.
Damn it.
Fine.
He's just overcome by emotion.
Listen, I'll let it slide because clearly Whiteside, Stephen Ross being meddlesome has gotten to you. I'll let it slide. Put the money back. It's
You're
fine.
not in charge of this. A fine's a fine.
You're rattled, though, man. I feel bad for you.
Feel bad for me the same way that you feel bad for Molina?
Oh, man.
Stugotz comes in here. I'm not even kidding you. He's like, man, Molina, 102 miles an hour. His junk fell down on the floor. And he's like, I felt real bad for him. And then Stugotz just bursts out laughing. Okay, that's the next thing that happens. And then he's like, his junk just hit the floor. I was impressed, to be honest with you.
Was impressive. I mean,
but I'm just saying that's how and I'm like, so did you feel bad for him? Yes or no? And his face is shaking from red laughter.
I don't know what to do with this story, man. I mean, he had emergency surgery and I don't know if we can make fun of it or not. I really don't. I'm torn on it. Like, it's the most painful thing I've ever seen. The most impressive thing I've ever seen.
What I do know is that you don't feel bad for him. You said you felt bad for him, and then the laughter on your face suggested otherwise.
Yeah. You're right, I don't. But that doesn't give me a license. Like, I don't feel badly for him because he's going to be fine. I'll be back in a month, although I never play baseball again. I just don't know if we can make fun of him today. Like, you're pretty good with that stuff, can we? And I don't know if I should trust you because you're broken up about ridiculous things right now. I mean, Whiteside, like, who cares? Stephen Ross is meddlesome. Okay. Fitzgerald, Minka Fitzgerald, they didn't want him. We got it.
What do you do with the report?
Which one?
The Boston Globe report.
Yeah, he's a meddlesome owner. Like, okay, like he's not the first. He won't be the last.
Does that make you meddlesome?
I do like the fact that the Dolphins were able to talk him off his position.
Right. Does that make you meddlesome? Because meddlesome owners don't get talked off their position. Meddlesome owners speak to a homeless person and sabotage your franchise.
Yeah.
Stephen Ross wants to be involved in these decisions. He's not Jerry Jones, but he's not hands off either. Like, this goes back to Philbin, the football people sometimes would roll their eyes at Stephen Ross. But are you in a position where you can roll your eyes at Stephen Ross? If you're the Dolphins, if he's leaning on you, how much trust, how much more of a football guy is Tannenbaum?
In terms of just knowing personnel and stuff like that?
No, I'm just saying how much of a
much
football.
more,
I'm just saying how much more. Tannenbaum has done a remarkable job of sort of making himself available to people to climb up ranks that aren't that smart. I'll give you an example. I just saw that the Bills hired Dan Morgan as their player development guy, and I love Dan Morgan. But I know Dan Morgan a little bit, and I'm like, I'm just, my mouth is open, like running your player personnel department. Because why? Because he played football.
Guess the Carolina connection there too, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, all these people are just hiring other people that they get along with, that they know a little bit.
Well, that's Tannenbaum's strength. Yeah, he's very good at relationships. He's a salesman, Dan.
I know, but he's running your bleeping franchise. He's a real estate agent.
Trading down in that situation actually seems like the sound decision. I wish they would have listened to Stephen Ross. They've got a lot of holes.
But this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is Ross isn't trusted in his football people. You guys are celebrating the football people for saying, hey, get out of here, and then Ross for getting out of here. I'm like, I kind of want him to run the thing. It sounds smarter. Maybe he needs to be more meddlesome.
You want him to be Jerry Jones?
Trading down. If you're not going to take Josh Rosen, trade down. Go ahead.
Instead of taking a corner safety, you don't know exactly where you're going to play him or whatever, you have a million holes on your team. Yeah, he should be the GM.
Is no one else bothered by the fact that a former sports agent is running the Dolphins?
I mean, a former sports agent is running the Lakers.
Yeah, and he didn't have the same sort of career arc because Tannenbaum started in football operations, then became the agent.
No, but you're saying the thing that you're mistaking. I feel like you think that you're saying that a former agent is running the Lakers. No, Magic Johnson is running the Lakers. Here, the agent is Magic Johnson. I don't understand what you're doing. Like, Tannenbaum's not the GM. He's presiding over everybody.
Right.
He's the last stop between him and Ross. He should be putting signs in your lawn.
Open house.
Open house, Tannenbaum. Enjoy the finger food.
Hi, everyone. Stugotz here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz, STUGOTZ. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Dan Le Batard.
To announce that they have podcasts now, Spotify is saying you can listen to the Dan Le Batard Show here. We're one of the very few shows that they're doing this. It's very cool. And they came up with a really cool marketing slogan for our show. Big stats, loud hats.
What is that?
I think it's something that you should sign off segments with.
Big stats, loud hats.
Yes.
And then it ends that way?
Yeah.
I don't like big stats, loud hats. What is that's not our show?
Well, the loud hats are.
Stugotz.
Big fats.
Yeah, see, there you go. That's so much better. Why are we not doing that with Spotify?
Big fats, loud hats, and then what do we do?
No, then you just go to commercial.
Yeah, we stare at each other awkwardly and end the segment.
Big stats.
Big fats.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
Can we get some of Tannenbaum's history here?
Sure.
I want to know in real terms what makes Mike Tannenbaum more qualified than Stephen Ross to pick players for a team. I want to know how you guys do the math on that, because I think many of these people are regular Joes who know how to climb, and it's not that high. It's not that tough to climb through football's hierarchy where Mike McCarthy is the resident genius.
Well, it all started for Mike Tannenbaum in Pittsfield. That's where he was an intern for the Pittsfield Mets. And then, quite the career jump, He went from the Pittsfield Mets to the Cleveland Browns, working in the player personnel department, acting as an assistant under Bill Belichick. So he's a part of the Belichick
Okay, so there you go. All right, so now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, if you look at
that. If I put a realtor, Guillermo, put this on the poll. If I put a realtor in Bill Belichick's office within a year, would I have him have a powerful football job?
He was a part of one of the greatest front office coaching tandems in the history of football that produced very little on the field, but the 94 Cleveland Browns were amazing. And, I mean, Saban, all these
I'm
great
sure
coaches.
Tannenbaum has a lot of stories about working with Saban and Belichick.
Then he went to the Saints.
Though, you know the kind, Stugotz, You know what I'm talking about here. This to climb your way as sports agent into the heights of management. The Arizona Diamondbacks did this for a while. Is that agent still running the Diamondbacks, or did he end up going broke? But an agent, Jeff Morad, I believe was his name. And they're the guys in Memphis too, right? The Grizzlies.
I believe so, yeah.
Some of the Grizzlies management ended up being agents who just climb their way or snake their way through sports because it wasn't that hard for them to be a little bit smarter than some of these people in this industry where you're not climbing over, Rhodes Scholars.
I could tell you that he did he took over the general manager's job for the Jets in 2006 and did a pretty good job building that roster.
Okay, but in terms of a pretty good job, what does that mean? Like in terms of a skill set? I know you're going to give me that they got to a couple of AFC Championship games, but really what they built a 9-7 and 10-6 team.
Well, he drafted, under his watch, they drafted DeBrickashaw Ferguson and Nick Mangold in the same draft.
I know, but what I'm asking you is if I put you in charge of that and let you look at Kuiper's stuff, do you think you could do that too? That's what I'm asking you.
He got Revis the next year and David Harris and Thomas Jones.
Also,
Dan, so he's good at it?
Wait.
So he's good at it.
He has a track record with that team of doing a pretty good job at it, yes.
Those weren't, you're giving Tannenbaum a lot of credit there. Mangini had to deal with the Jets that was very Belichickian in that he had player personnel decisions.
I can't believe, I guess I shouldn't be surprised by it. We have discussed so many times how unscientific this all is. Yes or no? Tannenbaum has some special skill when it comes to looking at players and having an ability to figure out whether they'll be good or not.
Oh, probably not, but I'm just pointing out the facts. The facts are he had a couple of good drafts with the Jets and built a team that went to the AFC Championship game.
My point is, if I put anyone in charge, Dan Morgan or anyone else.
Dan, the Jets have had a lot of people in charge, and I'm telling you, we never went to back-to-back AFC Championship games.
I know, but Stugotz, they were 9-7 and 10-6.
I think they were 11-5 that second year. The 9-7 year, I understand.
But Stugotz, Adam Gase was 10-6.
Right.
And? Is that a tribute to Tannenbaum and his drafting?
No.
Just help me out here. What kind of job has he done here? What kind of job has he done here that you don't want Ross meddling in his picks?
I'm not really sure what's going on here with you and Mike Tannenbaum.
Yeah, it's weird.
He hasn't done It's an incomplete job right now.
Trust the process, Dan.
We're in the middle of it.
Right.
A lot of people, I know he lost his job with the Jets, but a lot of people would look back on his time with the New York Jets and say it was a successful time. Yep. That was his only real crack at running a front office. And then he managed Steve Kerr to all sorts of new heights. Remember, he almost went to the New York Knicks. It was a very good decision by Mike Tannenbaum, steering him away from that.
All right, but I tell you, the agent for Steve Kerr is running the Dolphins, and how do you feel about that? I'm just talking in general about what runs that franchise. The report was, I don't even know if the report's true. It's coming out of Boston that Stephen Ross wanted them to trade down, which sounds smart given how many holes they have. And he was run off by the front office. First things first, always wonder about leaked information and who does that. I assure you it wasn't Stephen Ross. So now you got somebody close to Tannenbaum or in Tannenbaum's organization, if it's true. It's coming from someone in the Dolphins who wants you to know that their owner's meddlesome. And he can be. He wants to know what's going on with his product. So what do you do with all of that? That's what I thought was worth exploring.
I mean, we know where this is going to go, right? Going to go to maybe 9-7, 7-9, that range, blow it up. Some new person will come in, and that'll be that. I mean, what? We're going to have two segments on this?
It is the Miami Dolphins, and
That's
the owner.
Yeah.
It's a way, and by the way, it's not unique to the Miami Dolphins. This is the plight of the majority of the NFL.
Mike, if I told you Mickey Harrison was doing this, you'd want to be talking about it all show. All show.
But see, no, because the Miami Heat are different. The Miami Heat, you would tell me if the Miami Heat were just average, that's not what they do. That's not what they do. They've won. No, they've won 3 titles, and they've been average for 3 years, and now you're going to blow it up. It's not something that the Miami Heat do. It's something that the Miami Dolphins do. You're not used to this? This is white noise, baby.
So that's all I'm supposed to do is just, it's been the shift during the course of our radio show, Stugotz. And I don't know that we speak for South Florida, but over that period of time, we have been the sports radio show for this city. What has happened with our show and our ability to talk Dolphins and get people caring about the Dolphins has been one of the most remarkable things I've seen happen here. When we started with the words Chidi Ahanatu, it was the first words in show history. We were talking about Chidi Ahanatu.
Mm-hmm. You were. I was kicked out of the room.
What do you mean kicked out?
You didn't want me in the room for the first segment.
What's happened is 15 more years of the same.
He's been holding on to that one. 15 years.
Weird time for that to pop up.
I didn't start with Chidi Ahanatu. I mean, I can't even pronounce his name.
You're just 15 years further removed from success. In the 90s, they were only 20 years away from an undefeated season. You know, it's time and apathy.
Yep.
And their on-field results are the ones where you get apathy.
No one cares, Dan. That's it. And Mike is right. Like, if Mickey Harrison was doing this, he'd be meddling with Pat Riley. And that'd be a bigger story, and it'd be something worth talking about. It's Stephen Ross meddling with Mike Tannenbaum, to your point. You know, whatever. He probably should be meddling with Mike Tannenbaum. And no one cares about the Dolphins anymore. Why? Because the Heat have become, I guess, the number one team in this market. And they put together the greatest team, not only in South Florida sports history, but maybe in sports history. So who cares about the Dolphins?
Well, 5 years removed from an NBA championship?
It might be. I mean, that team was so much fun. So great.
If they were in any other city, you'd say they were a failure.
Well, they kind of were a failure here, but man, was it fun. It was. I mean, think about it. All the teams in the history of sports, a team that was more talked about than that team in its first year. Go ahead. Waiting.
So the measurement for greatest teams is talked about?
For me, yeah.
Talked about.
Yep.
In your personal record book?
Yep. Most interesting team, greatest team in the history of sports. Listen, when you are breaking down game number 5 of the regular season, you have yourself an interesting team. You do.
I didn't say it wasn't interesting. You just moved the goalposts. You said they were the greatest.
You noticed.
Washing my nose, oh yeah.
I'm a shower curtain, and I do one thing. Keep water from leaking everywhere. So you see why I feel useless compared to Geico, who does so much more. Like, not only could Geico save you money, but they've been around for over 75 years. And they give you 24/7 access online, over the phone, or on the Geico app. And they've got a 97% customer satisfaction rating. They do all this while I have to listen to this chucklehead. Oh, good, he stopped.
Washing my toes.
Oh, great, an encore.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Dan Batard.
I could spend the rest of my life and several other lives over the next 190 years searching, scouring all over the earth with an army of helpers for a single reason, for you to listen to the Don Strock Show coming up, and I would not return with a single one. The Don Strock Show up at 7 o'clock from 7 to 8.
Stugotz.
I'm just saying, if you gave me several lives, if you said, it opened up a genie bottle and said, here are hundreds and hundreds of years, all you have to do is come back with a single reason to listen to the Don Strock Show. I said, I'm sorry, you're going to have to kill me right now.
Way to promote, buddy. This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
Mike, how old is that sound? How old? That rejoin is how old?
About 14 years old.
Can we just isolate the Stugotz? Because that is... at that point right there, you could see the tension between what I wanted to do and what Stugotz wanted to do, which is be the lead-in to the Don Strock Show.
You hear the resentment there?
You can hear it. You can hear it.
It's not, listen, I was on board. Dan, I wanted to start the station with you doing afternoon drives. You know this. We met. We discussed it. That was the vision I had, was Joe Rose in the morning, Dan Le Batard in the afternoon. I was on board with what you wanted to do. I just wasn't on board at a nervous wreck that FIU was paying us a lot of money for that Todd Strock show, and I was running the radio station. Now, in hindsight, it was probably a bad idea, running the radio station and doing a show with a maverick like you.
A maverick. A maverick like me. So I was hired to do this by Stugotz. And Stugotz in that entire Don Strock segment, I think this is all you heard from him.
And it ended with a very sarcastic way to promote Buddy.
Yeah. Yep. This job got a lot easier for me the second I decided to no longer be the vice president and general manager of the station. Got a lot easier for me. It was bad at first. I would go in, I would rip shows. Allison knows I fired her. I would go in and rip shows and tell them what not to say, and then go on our show and do the exact opposite of what I told all the other shows to do. It was a dreadful, dreadful idea.
I'm happy you made that decision all by yourself.
Mike, can we address this time in our lives and Stugotz's life? Just Stugotz running the radio station and doing stuff like that. The same guy, just talk about meddlesome. Stugotz had his sausage fingers in everything.
In my mind, I'm developing a podcast series in which we explore the first couple of years of this show and the history of South Florida radio, and 790 The Ticket's launch is directly tied to that.
I don't remember much of it.
The Robert Downey line in Tropic Thunder, you never go
full.
Stugotz, it seems the obvious thing now that we all can see it clearly, but you don't go full Stugotz in charge. You don't. You got to give Stugotz a lot of rope. You got to give him power. You got to let him roam around. You cannot have him be the final say on anything.
It's fair.
His wife knows it.
Yeah.
We know it.
I mean,
the people he bankrupted didn't know it.
They should have.
You got to.
I mean, I didn't have final say on everything, but I'll take it. It's fair. It's totally fair.
Well, but if you want to understand where I inexplicably on a Monday morning went after Mike Tannenbaum, it's because I recognize how that creature climbs.
There we go. We got to the heart of
Finally.
it.
All right.
Finally.
Yeah.
I know what your problem is now.
Now you know. Now you guys all see it clearly. Just to be clear, the Dolphins are being run by Stugotz.
Only Stugotz is also the meddlesome owner in this situation.
That's correct. Well, this is why Tannenbaum's mad. Who the hell does Ross think he is? That's totally something Stugotz would do.
Who does Ross think he is? Me?
That's correct. Okay, so now I can explain it better. Dolphin fans, how do you feel about the fact that Stugotz is running your organization? He's not the GM, he's Magic Johnson. What does he do? He does things like this. And Ndamukong Suh, you're the answer. Give him all the money. And Ndamukong Suh, you're out of here. He did it to Allison. He'll do it to Ndamukong Suh.
I would have taken a quarterback, though, in this last draft, because I always take quarterback.
That's right.
I do.
Names.
Yes. Well, this is the quickest fix. I mean,
Mike, did we, the audience last week was bothered by the Riley Spo stuff.
How so?
Just that Riley in his press conference is seen to have slighted Spo. Many people heard it that way, and many people thought that we were brushing it aside. I was. Yeah. I am.
Yeah, many people thought you were brushing it aside.
I am. Well, but what does it mean, though? What does it mean that Spo and Riley occasionally disagree on things, and if Riley ends one season in the first round, who do you think is going to get some of that blame? You think Riley's going to take all of it?
No.
You think Riley, in his own personal inventory, is going to look in a mirror and say, first round exit, 5 games to a Sixers team that just got exposed by a Celtics team that's not that much better than the Heat, but a coach that now has as good or better a reputation without a championship as any I've ever seen, and as good or better a reputation as Eric Spoelstra himself with 2 championships.
Heat fans and Heat Twitter, Spo can do no wrong. But I think it's fairly obvious now after you see what the Celtics have done to the Sixers. There were obvious things that you could exploit with the Philadelphia 76ers. And I'm not saying Spo didn't know that. The players didn't execute. But it is a bit of an indictment that Brad Stevens, who is always the guy, whenever you say Spoelstra now, you're comparing him to Brad Stevens. Well, he's doing it. He's doing it. And I think I'd rather have the Heat's roster, honestly.
Well, that's the thing. What the place that the most damning indictment, and so within that, the most damning indictment is those Celtics aren't appreciably better than your Miami Heat, is the feeling that you have after watching Boston do this in 3 games, and one of them is a 19-year-old short-circuiting. But one of the things that you have in front of you is the feeling that if Brad Stevens coached their group, he'd beat you, and if he coached your group, he'd beat them. Because you look at the Celtics and the Heat next to each other. Go ahead and put them next to each other. Just the rosters next to each other.
Yeah.
And you can't make the argument that the Celtics are this much better than the Miami Heat.
Not this year. Maybe you could project out, but certainly not this year. You're right, yes.
You don't have to look further than a guy who Kelly Olynyk. He was a vital part of what they were doing last year, and they had to let him go to make room for all the other contracts they added on there. That one hurt. He had a monster elimination game for them.
Mm-hmm. That part is interesting. And so from within that prism, though, I wasn't surprised to hear Riley say any of that about Spoelstra, because Riley's always putting pressure on Spoelstra. Riley always wants Spoelstra to do better, and I could see why Spoelstra would find that annoying, find that press conference annoying, but that's life with Riley. He's in charge.
I mean, I'd be surprised if those guys didn't butt heads, to be honest. I mean, Spoelstra and Riley. And, of course, Riley thinks he'd probably do a better job with his team than Spoelstra.
Well, I don't know if he thinks that not. I don't know. I don't know what – I have not asked him about any of this. I just can't see Pat Riley getting a first-round exit to a team that's run by a 19-year-old that since has been exposed as being every bit the 19 that he wasn't in this series, and why Riley would watch that and be like, you know what? My coach could have done a little better. I don't see what the big leap is for, Riley's got a sizable earned ego on him. Man, I remember actually talking to Riley during the finals against San Antonio before it blew up, before the whole thing blew up and LeBron left here. We were talking before Game 5. So the Heat are down 3-1. And it didn't look that that's the way it was going to go. That series came back 1-1. There was a cramp situation. The Heat was nearly up 2-0, was looking at 2-0 in a fourth quarter.
Everyone was saying Heat in 5 now. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, DJ Khaled and Flo Rida were embarrassing our city on first take.
Embarrassing. I loved them. I think they did a great job of representing Heat fans. It was amazing.
Stephen A. was calling himself the mayor.
Oh, yeah. He got a key to the city at the end of that. Remember that?
Yep.
Oh, that was so much fun.
It was right down here, right?
Yeah, at the pool downstairs.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Tell us more, Billy.
I just miss that, man. I miss those days. It was a party down there. It was like 9 in the morning. None of that's going on downstairs right now. That should be happening right now if that's how things were going back then, right? I don't see anybody down there. What's going on?
Well, the Heat don't play anymore. That's part of the problem. They don't have games that matter.
LeBron's not here.
Mike is fervently looking for the sound, I hope, of Flo Rida being faced by a poignant and pointed Skip Bayless argument and then merely nonsensically breaking into song.
We got good luck on our side. It rained.
Gotta remember.
That's a sign of rain and victory all day.
But let me say this. Let me say this. Very important. Wait. You got to explain that one to me.
When it rains, it's raining victory.
Win?
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Why is that?
I mean, it's all about,
Okay, break out into song.
All day.
I don't get it.
Look at you.
I don't get it. What do you mean rain affects the outcome? I just want Skip. I love that Skip Bayless treated that as an interrogation of Flo Rida and his logic ladder. I want to hear all of that again, including the Skip Bayless master of interrogation with a single swinging light bulb over the head of Flo Rida.
And I think my favorite part is the dude in the crowd that tries to help Flo Rida out as if he's on some sort of game show.
Yeah. We got good luck on our side. It rained.
Gotta remember.
That's a sign of rain and victory all day.
But let me say this. Let me say this. Very important. Wait. You got to explain that one to me.
When it rains, it's
if
raining
it rains,
victory.
Then he win?
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Why is that?
I mean, it's all about,
Okay, break out into song.
All day.
I don't get it.
Look at you.
If rain really brought that much victory, there'd be a lot more victories down here in South Florida.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
We wouldn't need a stadium with a roof.
So, what was it that you didn't like representing Miami, Mike? It wasn't in there. It was something else, wasn't it?
What, the guy that screamed God in the background?
Yeah, God.
In terms of, like, offering Flo Rida a ledge to climb off on. I mean, that if you look back on that, I was watching it, and I was like, man, I get why everybody hates us.
It was awful.
And the series turned right there.
But you think they in some way misrepresented what was going on at that time? Because I think that was like a perfect representation.
Yeah, it was. It was a perfect representation. All it was missing was a puppet.
So before Game 5, that's the center of everything, and that's what LeBron would take away one game later. All of that. Just so you understand, one day here at the Clevelander pool was this. One day. This is what the Clevelander...
Oh, this was a full week.
It was crazy.
No, but I'm saying from one day to the next. I'm going to tell you a story here. From one day to the next, it went from this.
We got good luck on our side. It rained.
Got to remember.
That's the sign of rain and victory all day.
But let me say this. Very important. Wait. You got to explain that one to me.
When it rains, it's
if it
raining
rains, then he
victory.
win?
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Why is that?
I mean, it's all about,
Okay, break out into song.
all day.
I don't get it.
Look at you.
How does Skip not get it after that?
All day. So, to not being that. To right now, if you go by the pool, that same pool that's right downstairs, there's one security guard, one gray-haired. In fact, Guillermo, go ahead. I'd like you to go down outside, take some notes, and tell me what's happening before I go any further with this story, which will end with Pat Riley telling me something before Game 5 of the San Antonio Spurs series.
You don't want to hear DJ Khaled's contribution? This was before Khaled became a megastar on Snapchat. This was the start of it.
I do want to hear DJ Khaled's contribution.
It's over.
Okay.
We're winning tonight, winning the next game, and then we're going to this.
You're going to win it in San Antonio.
We're going to San Antonio where they turned the AC off.
Uh-huh.
They won that one game because they were cheaters. See, they got to win. Hold on, listen. They won, but they cheated. See, they practiced with no heat.
Oh, they practiced with no heat. Do you know that for a fact?
Of course I do.
Oh, okay.
Of course I do.
Who's your source on that?
No, it's the streets.
So great. It's such a great response.
That is a back and forth for the ages right there. Who's your source on that? Demands Skip Bayless, and DJ Khaled has him checkmated.
Who's your source on that?
No, it's the streets.
No, what are you going to do? You got to retreat, Bayless. I saw a Khaled video the other day, him training with his girlfriend, and he's just like, come on. And she just starts cursing at him, angry. I'm not like you. I don't like all this motivational stuff.
Well, it became fairly apparent as why she's always angry at him over the weekend. Yeah.
Why else?
Oh, did you miss out on this story?
I missed it.
I can't really describe it. Khaled thinks there are different rules for guys when it comes to giving in the bedroom.
Guillermo, I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional again. Guillermo, can you give me the scene right now at the Clevelander pool?
There's a guy that's scrubbing the bottom of the pool with like this sponge and a pole, which I've never seen before, so it's good to know that they do that. And then there's like 4 towels that are just on the stage. There's no one else there. Ricardo, the security guy, is just wandering around.
All right. So, ESPN, several people told me and my father to put on construction helmets and finish building the studio as soon as LeBron left. That me and my father should come with construction helmets and make sure from one day to the next. That's how it happened. And also before Game 5 of that San Antonio series, Pat Riley was wondering what's Spo got for them. What's Spo got for them? And then nothing. And then LeBron leaves, and now we got this pool situation.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like a whole new person.
Disclaimer, you will not become a whole new person. This is impossible. You might be able to join a gym or diet program, buy a new wardrobe, get hair implants, but your DNA and physical form will remain the same. Geico waives any and all liability if you attempt to become a new person, except a cyborg. If you choose to become a half-human, half-cybernetic organism with lasers for eyes, the Geico legal team would be cool with that, because, quote, laser eyes are pretty sweet. Pew, 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 end quote.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.